welcome to a place where we're gonna see some huge nature aquariums, some jellyfish, some penguins, some animals that have already been around together with the dinosaurs, and the world's greatest gift shop. You're gonna see what I mean. Welcome to AOAO Sapporo. The very first thing you see as you step into AOAO is old lab equipment and, well, quite new lab equipment. In these big barrels, they mix in the salt water for penguins in one and for the fish in the other one, because besides all the nature aquarium stuff, there are actually other animals as well at AOAO. Here is a small, well, research center basically, where they mimic the environment as close as they can, and they examine the way these animals live and behave. As we walk around this small lab, there's the history of aquariums and, well, basically the history of how SeaWorld combined with mankind and how it was explored by mankind. The very beginning, 1853, the world's first aquarium. It says, the world's first aquarium, the Fish House, was built at London Zoo in the UK. It means an aquarium as an exhibit aquarium. There are some interesting steps in the history of, well, sea animals and humans. Release of the movie Jaws, 1975. That's a history lesson. In this area, we can find some really interesting animals, and not just fish. I don't even know what these are, but they're swimming in quite a weird way. So I've just checked, and they're striped shrimp fish. My favorite so far is the leaf fish, which, well, looks like a leaf fallen underwater. You can also see some fossils around this area, and this one is actually a local. This is a sea cow that was found around the Sapporo area, and it's just a tad bit over 8 million years old. Besides actual fossils like this guy, there are some, well, what they call living fossils on the other side, and these are actual live animals. And when I asked why they are called living fossils, they said that because these guys have already been around the same time as dinosaurs. So that's interesting. If you're like me and have no idea how an aquarium works, there is actually a really nice educational video explaining the cycle and balance of an aquarium, and it's really well made. It's perfectly understandable both for children and for obviously adults who are interested. And that's a big part of this place, education and showing how it all works. That's by far the coolest looking fish I've ever seen. I'd love to have one of these at Green Aqua. The only reason why we can't have them is because they are extinct. Sad news. Until this point, The whole exhibition was basically a prequel on underwater life, showcasing the amazing history and versatility of freshwaters, seas and oceans. But now, let's see the part we actually came for and what we're most excited about. Here at the Nature Aquarium part of AOAO, we can find 3 huge aquariums and a big paludarium as well. This whole place has been open since July of 2023, so the tanks you see here are a bit more than 1 year old, so they're quite mature now, and well, that shows. The aquariums you can see here have all been created by ADA Suike creators, and well, they are true masterpieces. 2 big ones are 4 meters. The paludarium behind me is 4 meters as well, and the big one is 7 meters long. As they are built into this environment with complete darkness, there's quite relaxing music in the background, and the tanks themselves lit up. You can spend hours just sitting and looking at the tanks. And that's what people do. Actually, it's a Friday morning now, and still the place is quite busy. There are families, there are a lot of children around, and that just shows how big part nature takes in the lives of Japanese people. And that's very different from us. That's very interesting from us. I would love to see people being so interested in nature. One of the plants that really need this big space and that truly only looks magnificent in a big aquarium like this is the lotus. This is truly one of my favorite plants, and one of those plants that I can't really use in the aquariums that we built at Green Aqua. We need a big one, don't we? Obviously, besides the plants, these kind of sizes of aquariums provide space for proper sized fish. We've never had this big fish anywhere in our tanks, and it's amazing to see them developed in their full size. Besides the amazing aquariums, you can only see a huge 4-meter long paludarium at AOAO. Now this we've never seen in such size, at least not in person. And it also has some really interesting effects going on from time to time. There is an automation going where you have the sun rising, the cloud coming in, and then the wind blowing it all out. This is the perfect slice of a Japanese forest. As I've mentioned in the previous video, I've been missing Yusuke Homa's paludarium from the NA gallery at ADA. And actually this is where most of the plants from that setup have moved, and this is where they continued their life. There has always been a debate if love at first sight is possible. But what do you think? Is it possible to do it twice? Because entering in this room and seeing this tank was my second time falling in love with aquascaping. Now this is the big one, and it's very warming to my heart that the biggest tank is an Iwagumi, and this is Iwagumi. None of the stuff that we do, it's just the details, the way the stones are positioned and selected this is out of this world for us. To show you the attention to detail that this place has, if you look at the outflows of the filtration, well, we didn't see the filtration, but if I just look at the hoses, it's big. If you look at the outflows, they're set up in a way that on this side, there's two outflows, actually three outflows, all of them blowing through the back of the tank this way, creating flow for the background plants. And on the other side, there's just one outflow, and it's coming across to blow the front the other way. It's insane. And that actually has an effect on how the plants grow, and they're gonna follow that flow, and that's how you have this crisscross pattern on the front and background plants, which, well, I don't think we can achieve something like this in a smaller aquarium. As most of you probably know, Amano's son has started out as a photographer, actually a nature photographer. In this exhibition at AOAO, you can see some of his photography work as well, which is amazing. These are what a aquarium is based off. This is how it all started. Seeing how a hobby can be an actual exhibition, a museum, is very strange for us. This is not something you can comprehend with the European mind. And I had the same feeling 5 years ago at Sumida Aquarium in Tokyo. While there are a bunch of nice looking animals underwater, I think by design, by far the most fascinating ones are jellyfish. And while you see a few of them floating around in front of me, behind me there are hundreds, if not thousands of them, and different types. These things are just magnificent. In the final room of AOAO, you can find these quite chilled guys called Macaroni penguins. And yeah, they don't worry too much about life. While obviously we mainly came here to check out AOAO Sapporo for the Nature Aquarium Gallery, but it's very, very nice to see a place where from amazingly grown Hygrophila pinnatophilas you get to see macaroni penguins in just one place. It's a whole exhibit for a whole family, and yeah, we enjoyed it very much. While our previous video was basically a love letter to our hobby through showcasing the people and the events of the award ceremony and the festival following, this place, AOAO, is much more about how to actually connect with nature, how to get to know nature, and how to do what we do on the highest possible level. The purpose of ADA Lab is to bring nature aquariums and plants and terrariums closer to people who are not yet in the hobby. This is more for beginners, is to provide them with plants, tools, all the necessary equipment for simple things, not complicated high-tech aquariums. Or you can even just come in and buy ready-made terrariums made by the ADA staff. At the moment there are 4 ADA Lab stores, 3 of them in Japan. There's one, we are here in Sapporo, there's one in Tokyo, and there's one in Osaka. And the 4th one is actually in Beijing. To be honest, I don't know if they're gonna open any more, but probably there's a plan to have these all around the world at some point. And yeah, I really like the idea of it. This is not about aquascaping, this is not about just aquariums, this is about getting people closer to nature, and well, we're all about that. The ADA Lab, you can find some amazing terrestrial plants, tropical plants, carnivorous plants, lots of mosses. I just love how all this is getting part of our hobby, actually. And by far, this one is my favorite. Actually, if there would be a way, I would take this home. But I don't think there is. That's it for today. Well, it was amazing to see all these different things in one place. Huge thanks to ADA and AOAO Sapporo for having us, and well, see you next time. Goodbye.